So much speculation going on about what Ryan Poles can do in this year's draft. We're just focused on defensive tackles that Ryan Poles could take, as well as a rumor of why the Chicago Bears could actually not go defensive line in the first round. I know you guys are tired of hearing about it, but hey, we're going to cover everything here. And we're lastly going to get into an update in the Dexter Lawrence situation. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Terry Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. So the Dexter Lawrence thing is all going crazy, right? Like, you know, a lot of Bears fans, with the Bears not making a big splash move, are really hoping that this could be true. Me and Pat, the designer, have talked about it a couple of times in real life. And while there has been some buzz and some legitimate buzz around the Chicago Bears potentially trading for Dexter Lawrence, mainly due to how the defensive tackle market in this draft is maybe taking some hits in the way that it's being viewed by some people. And so that's why a lot of this is gaining even more legs. So, you know, you have to take that for what it's will. But Dan Ritterer, for what it's worth, talked about the Chicago Bears and potentially trading for Dexter Lawrence, and he simply just put this: how are you going to create the cap space? Does anybody talk about how you can? He said this: did you guys figure out a way to increase the salary cap for the Bears to really consider that? And that's the thing that really comes down to it, right? Yes, could the Bears create more cap space? We've talked about the restructuring of contracts. There's of course the potential to waive it and all that when it comes down to it, you know. And so we'll see, right? You look at Ian Rappaport, his report in regards to Bears fans keeping an eye on Dexter Lawrence. You know, NFL draft analyst Matt Miller also talked about Bears anyone in regards to, like, the Dexter Lawrence trade situation is one that is intriguing, right? And in no way if Ryan Poles was to create the cap space to go out there and make that happen, it's not going to be it's not like it's a bad move, right? You're adding a guy who is absolutely transcendent, even despite his sack numbers going down, the pressure rate and everything where he ranks up on that. It would help improve the Chicago Bears pass rush, its run defense, all in one swoop, but the financial situation of that. And that's what we keep going back to. And I know that, you know, some Bears fans, they want to live more in the optimistic of, hey, you can make this happen, where I'm sometimes more in the realistic standpoint of, hey, you know, yeah, the Bears can technically create the space, but you do that at the regards of what in the future, right? Like, it's not just about now in this offseason. That's why I always say, like, as fans, we typically look at just the now, right? We look at, hey, let's go out and get this guy. As an actual NFL front office, you have to also look at what that means for the future. Now, yes, the Bears could even restructure Dexter Lawrence's contract, give him extension, spread some of that money out, do all that type of stuff to help ease off that. So there are options that are legitimately here, right? But I do think this is that even though the Bears were to clear up cap space, keep in mind, they have to already clear up cap space just to sign the rookies that they're going to draft. But at this point, where the Bears are, with extensions to Darnell Wright, early extension to Caleb Williams, maybe even one of Romo Dunze that they have to look at coming down the pipeline in regards to that, I don't know if this is something that's going to be realistic for. Yes, it is going to require some maneuvering from Ryan Poles. Maneuvering that we have seen Ryan Poles, that you can probably trust that Ryan Poles has his finger on the pulse and exactly how to create that if he was going to go out and do it. He's not going to do it without thinking about the implications of the now and the future. But I just want to be clear. The reason why I haven't had multiple Dexter Lawrence videos, this is really only my second one since the initial rumor came out, is because I just don't think it's going to happen. And I don't want to set an expectation. I know it's off season. It's click season for a lot of content creators. You're probably seeing your timeline flooded with, oh, how the Bears can get Dexter Lawrence. Oh, the Bears are absolutely going to create this to land Dexter Lawrence. Oh, I'm not doing that because I live in a more realistic place. And I think Ryan Poles has already shown his hand. I think that Ryan Poles has said it. Like when he talked about not making the big splash move and that maybe that comes down the pipeline and that, you know, the going through the draft and build it organically through that, like that's all very intentional. Say what you will about Ryan Poles. He doesn't show all his hands, but he also doesn't typically lie, right? So when he said those things early in the offseason, you know, after the initial wave of free agency and with the Bears not making the move from Trey Hendrickson or Max Crosby, like when he said that and talked about the contract size of that and how you have to look at all of that, I took that as what it was. Those are serious words from somebody that is already surveyed and is thinking about the future as well as the now. So, we'll see. And maybe in the draft market, maybe that's changed some. Maybe, going through the draft combine, going through your top 30 visits, maybe they're not as enamored with some of the defensive tackle prospects that they brought in, so thus they are willing to go after Dexter Lawrence. Maybe something like that is there, right? But I just think ultimately when you look at this and look at it beyond just this season and look at it beyond just the right now, you can see a clear path of why the Chicago Bears may not make this move and why it may not make sense for them to do right now. Now, maybe that changes at the trade deadline. Maybe it changes as soon as that. We've seen Ryan Poles call audibles at the trade deadline. Maybe that changes in the offseason. We don't know what that's going to do. But as it stands right now, I just don't think it's very likely that the Bears not only create the $20 million to get Dexter Lawrence in here, but then create another $9 to $10 million because you are going to be trading some of your picks, but still another $9 or $10 million to be able to sign your draft picks. I just don't personally see it happening. If it does, shout out to Ryan Poles. This is not me saying that in any way I'd be mad if it does happen. I'm just saying that I don't think that it will. So let me know what you guys think in regards to the Dexter Lawrence thing. Should the Chicago Bears mortgage some of their future and some of their long-term flexibility to go after that move now? Or do you think the patient approach of making it through, making the kind of more straight line improvements this year through what they've done in free agency already, add what they do in the draft to that, is kind of a more palatable thing? Let me know what you guys think on that part down below. With that said, and speaking about defensive tackles, I want to talk about some of the defensive tackles that are best for the Chicago Bears in ranking. I figure it's a really good thing to look at with Dexter Lawrence and the rumors going on there. I think we have to set the why the Bears need to be looking at the interior defensive line as well as the edge. We already know edge. I've talked about edges, I think, on Monday's episode. But when you look at it right now, the Chicago Bears gave up an average of 134 yards per game against the run. That's just not good, right? And when you look at Pro Football Focus's run grades, Javon Dexter had a run defense grade of 44, which ranked him 107th out of 134 defensive tackles. Grady Jarrett ranked 105th with a grade of 44.5. Andrew Billings, after having a strong year in 2024 against the run, before his injury, had a 39.2, ranking him 117th out of 134. So what does that say? That the Chicago Bears run defense is very bad. And so, especially on the front four, right? And so you look at the Bears, they signed Neville Gallimore, Contavious Shrink. We brought in the depth there, right? Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter coming back as well. But the Bears are probably going to try to find a way to attack the defensive tackle in this draft. And there are some really good options here. I think the number one option that you got to look at is Kayden McDonald out of Ohio State. Yes, I'm an OSU guy. Yes, I'm always going to find a way to put OSU prospects on there, but not in the sense that I'm not going to throw somebody number one who's not out there. A Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year in 2025. When you look at run stopping, he brings every single bit of that. His size, the combination of size, hand technique, the speed that he does have, how he's able to leverage and get into gaps as well is absolutely tremendous. And then also, while he's not a guy that really gets a lot of sacks, he does collapse the pocket a lot, so that pressure rate is probably really going to be up there. He's been compared to DJ Reader for a lot. And so, I think that the combination of Kayden McDonald and Javon Dexter on your front line, that works really well. Javon Dexter, who had 7 sacks last year and has definitely improved as a pass rusher, even though his run defense leaves a lot to be desired. You look at Kayden McDonald, he comes in and he's the immediate complement to that, especially in short yardage down situations against the run, but also still his ability to collapse the pocket with his speed and his strength and his relentlessness. That's where Kayden McDonald really comes in at and can help this Chicago Bears team dramatically. So Kayden McDonald, definitely a defensive tackle that's worth taking a look at in this draft. Next up, another guy we've talked about a few times, and that's Peter Woods, 6'3", 298 pounds. When you look at it, this is a guy that still has a lot of untapped potential. And I think that's the part that really stands out about it. His upside and the versatility that he has and what that could mean and bring to a Dennis Allen scheme is absolutely tremendous, right? So if the Bears were to take a chance on Peter Woods, you look at his speed, you look at the explosiveness, you look at the fact that he can line up as a 3-tech. He excels in one gap as well. He's taking snaps on the outside. So, again, that schematic fit that Dennis Allen likes to do to bring a competitive edge is there with Peter Woods. And I think the quick first step that he has that he's going to be able to use against tackles and guards, depending on where you have him, is really good. Now, he has struggled at times against double teams, right? He's struggled against that on double teams. that's where to be up to the edges, as well as Javon Dexter, to be able to play well enough to where teams can't just double team Peter Woods. But, we've talked about Montez Sweat and how often he's double teamed. So if you have another double team threat in Peter Woods out there, you gotta look at that, right? And so this is a guy that also at 298 pounds, you still see very much room for him to fill out his frame even further. So if the Bears were to take a shot at Peter Woods, you look at him, he's been compared to Christian Wilkins. And if that ends up happening, I would absolutely love that for the Chicago Bears. So Peter Woods, definitely another option for the Chicago Bears there at defensive tackle, and one that I think a lot of Bears fans would really love. I think the combination there of him and Javon Dexter is really there. The next guy, Caleb Banks, out of Florida, 6'6", 327 pounds. This is another guy that has the nice combination of strength, size, the long arms that he has. He has an explosive first step for being 327 pounds as well. Also, the hand technique. He wins that battle at point of attack and is able to take that really good, especially against centers and guards, is really where he excels at also. So, he here's the thing, right? When you look at his pass rush, though, his length allows him to really do a lot of things there, but that's one of the things that may be a little bit of a shortcoming for him. But hey, when it comes down to it, what he has with the high center of gravity, how he breaks at the line of scrimmage as well, it's really good. 2025, he did fracture his foot, so you're going off a lot of the 2024 tape in regards to that. But I do think, he had surgery in March. He's still projected to make a full recovery by June. But that injury, that could be something that really pushes him down the draft boards. And maybe that's where the Bears can actually get probably a player that has tremendous talent, maybe even later than what he should go. So Caleb Banks, another guy that definitely stands out there for the Chicago Bears. Next up, Christian Miller out of Georgia. 6'4", 321 pounds. I think when you look at it, right, he's already turned some heads. He's projected to be an early second-round pick, but there are a lot of scouts that are going back and looking at his tape because, listen, he's not mocked to go in the first round very much, but I do think that a team that may want to reach on a defensive tackle could go there. But if he's there early in round 2, I think the length, how quickly he gets past blocks, he disrupts gaps as well. I think with his frame that he has, the 321-pound frame as well, he excels on one-on-one opportunities. Now, he's not a better run stopper than pass rusher or vice versa. He's just solid in both areas. I think the toughness that he brings, his ability to fill out as well and build up on that technique. You're going to have to develop the technique part. Right now, he's getting by on sheer strength, athleticism, and determination. If you add that technique wrinkle in there, you can have you a hell of a steal with Christian Miller. Next up, Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. 6'3", 318 pounds. The size that he has is just absolutely massive. And the way that he fills gaps with that size, it's amazing. He covers centers as well. He's a really solid run defender. The way that he gets off the ball as well and has he keeps his pad level very low, which he uses for leverage there. This is a guy that was in the Senior Bowl as well. He dominated the Senior Bowl with the bull rush. And, we got a guy on our offensive line that's susceptible to the bull rush. He does rely heavily on his size and his technique, right? And that's a good part about it, is that he has that technique part down. And so there's really good. Sometimes his feel for the game, that initial quickness, it can be a little bit lacking there for him. But overall, I think Lee Hunter would be a really good guy in the later rounds to really take a shot at that defensive tackle spot. Can he turn into a starting level tackle in the NFL? That's a question that remains to be seen. But I do like his potential. I do like the capability that he brings there to the Chicago Bears. Potentially, Lee Hunter is a really good guy to look at in this draft. Next up, Dominique Orange. We've talked about Damo. We talked about him a lot, 6'2", 322 pounds. This is a guy that's definitely going to be there in the second round, right? So you look to take him with one of your second round picks. There are even some mocks that have him going in the third round, so maybe he can be there in the third round if he's still available. But the quick first step that he has, his reaction time is absolutely amazing. Offensive linemen can't really gain leverage on him because of that. He has really good recovery instincts as well, and I think that's what happens. If he does get initially beaten, he recovers quickly and pretty well. And so I think with his long arms, the big hands that he has, the frame that he has as well, he's already shown an ability with his mix of quickness and long arms to get in those gaps as well. But I do think sometimes he does lose a little bit of that control in the pass rush productivity. So he's right now more of a one-dimensional kind of defensive tackle there. But I tell you what, watching this kid's tape, sometimes you just got to take the good with the bad, and you just got to bet on it because the motor that Dominique Orange plays with is absolutely tantalizing. It's just when you see a player that plays with that level of motor on that defensive line, it gets you fired up watching him because he is relentless in what he does, in the work that he does on that defensive line. And that is something that can help transform a defense that needs so much help in what you do on that defensive line. So, Dominique Orange available in one of the later rounds, maybe even as late as round 3. I doubt that. You probably have to take him with your second round pick. That's probably the lowest that you can get him. But he's a guy that definitely stands out in the motor. Like, it's just, I can't stress that enough. The size that he has and the motor that he has is just something that you just look at and you're like, this big motherfucker should not be able to keep doing this shit. But he finds a way to keep doing it. And I really love how he stands out. The last guy, Grayson Halton, out of Oklahoma, 6'3", 293 pounds. The thing that you're going to hear about him and the thing that could push him down draft boards is him being undersized, right? You're going to hear a lot often, 209, like below 300 pounds, basically, right? And so he doesn't have a lot more than most centers in the NFL. But what he does bring when he's able to get with the size is that he's just slippery, right? He's able to get past guards and centers. He tracks the ball really, really well, right? He has active hands that help him get off blocks. The way that he moves his upper body as well, he's able to twist and do those kind of advanced moves to free himself up. He has really good ability to close out speed as well, right? He ran a 4.8 40-yard dash at 293 pounds, but he does lack some of that leverage at the point of attack that you like to see from defensive tackles. And because he also doesn't have the mass, he's not as big as some of those other guys, so that anchor's a little bit low. His rush advantages on the pass rush are kind of susceptible sometimes, and they leave a little bit to be desired from, especially if you have kind of more athletic guards that are guarding him. But I think what he has in his pass rush capabilities, his quickness, those things, it allows him to get to the backboard pretty consistently, which is another aspect and wrinkle that the Chicago Bears need for this defense. So I like the concept of Grayson Halton here. It's just he brings some limitations and shortcomings that you're going to have to try to overcome with scheme, overcome with what the lineups that you have him out there, who you have him out there with. And those are going to be things you have to be very conscious of him with early on into his career. See if he can put on that mass. He has some frame where he could probably get up to 298, something like that. But if you're looking at him getting to 305, something like that, that's probably not going to happen with him. Not if he's going to, maintain some of the things that make him the special player that he can be at times. So, there's that. But those are the guys that I would say the Bears can look at defensive tackle. We'll see what's going to happen in regards to that one. But hey, let me know what you guys think on those. Are there any other defensive tackles that weren't mentioned that you think the Chicago Bears should take a look at? Let me know that down below. With that said, I want to get into the last topic for today. So James Reber of NFL.com released what he thought is the perfect ideal fit for every single team in the first round, and he had Emmanuel McNeil-Warren listed as the perfect fit. Now, I do start thinking this, right? Like I've told you guys that the Bears could very well go safety in round 1. I know a lot of you guys hate to hear that, but it is a legitimate chance that the Bears go safety in round 1, regardless if you like it or not. He's not doing stuff for you to like it until they get on the football field. Then you're going to like it, right? But I do think that we've heard the name so much that typically when you hear the same name so much around it, that maybe it doesn't end up happening. But we've already talked about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren and what the upside that he brings in. His ability with Kobe Bryant in that secondary could be tremendous. 6'2", 202 pounds, 2 interceptions, 6 pass deflected, 3 forced fumbles. This motherfucker just has the goddamn motor that you want and that you respect. He brings a lot of what we had in Jaquan Brisker as far as scheme ability inside the box, outside the box. You look at a guy, like he's basically the safety version of C.J. Garner-Johnson. Like he brings so much scheme fit. And I think that's why a lot of people do have him labeled as a perfect fit for the Chicago Bears, because what Dennis Allen would do with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is absolutely tremendous. You look at having the versatile weapons in the secondary with McNeil-Warren, Zay Frazier, Kyler Gordon. Like you open up so much to the scheme stuff that Dennis Allen likes to do with defensive backs. You can bring them, you can run blitz them, you can do those type of things. I think this is a guy that absolutely would be disruptive on that defense for the Chicago Bears, and he will pair so much with that split back defensive backfield that Dennis Allen likes to implore. And that's really where you start seeing that. He's one of those safeties that is definitely projected to go in the first round, right? He's up there with Caleb Downs and Dylan Thieneman, right, who I think the Bears may look to bring if they do go safety in the first round. But I think that this guy just has a nose for the football. That's the thing. He's tough. He's physical. He's a playmaker, right? And I think he brings a lot of what we lost with Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard. He brings a lot of those type of things. And I love the idea of him in Dennis Allen's system. I love it. So, when it comes down to it, I get where a lot of you guys getting at with your trepidation of hearing that the Bears could go a position other than defensive line in the first round. But if they do, There are a number of names that make sense, and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is one that really stands out in what he can bring to this team, what he can do for this team, and how he fits with our defensive coordinator and play caller, Dennis Allen. I love all of that. So, we'll see what's going to happen with it. I can't wait for the draft. We're only a week away from the draft, y'all. This time next week, we will be, well, not this time because it's later in the day, but we'll be talking about the NFL draft. And I tell you what, I can't fucking wait because it's going to be really exciting. And I think we're going to really get, Ryan Poles is going to cook again. I'm having a lot of faith in him for that one. So, the NFL, usually in NFL, one position doesn't change everything for your team. But for the Chicago Bears this year and the needs that they have positions that need that. So I want to hear from you guys on this one. What do you think the Chicago Bears, you think that it should be a defense-heavy draft regardless, right? Or do you trust Ryan Poles in his thought process to go best player available? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bear Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.